guys, including the great Turkish poet Yunus Emre, in the 13th century. War is cut short by a word, and a word heals the wounds. And there is a word that changes poison into butter and honey. Well, he was talking about a moral life. This was a spiritual, moral, ethical voice of conscience. It's not about politics, but his insight applies more broadly. It reminds us that judgment matters as much as force, and that language, used with discipline and restraint, can still under the course of events. Now, Malaysia and Turkey is aligned on many questions of consequence. It's interesting, we're world apart in terms of geographical distance, but Malaysians follow the development of Turkey. In this age where you have so much hypocrisy and lack of courage and lack of conscience, you have emerged as a voice of reason, having the courage to state facts as they are and to condemn without reservations the sheer atrocities and genocide inflicted upon the people of Gaza by the Israeli regime. And but at the same time, having this brilliance and diplomatic skills to continue to engage, because ultimately what the world needs is not only a moral voice of conscience, but also the wisdom to navigate in this uncertain and complex world. Now, we are, of course, a relatively smaller country, and went through an initial political turmoil, not so much an upheaval. And I was joking with my colleagues from SETA that sometimes we tend to say, well, Alhamdulillah, we're very far from this region. We don't have too many problems and issues. And you know, we had slight skirmishes between Cambodia and Thailand, which I and my colleagues, Minister of Foreign Affairs is here, spent so much time and effort to try and resolve. And Alhamdulillah, to a large extent, resolved. But 5-6 people killed, and it created such an uproar. So the concern, not only by people of both countries, but people, neighboring countries and ASEAN, everybody saying, come on, do something. You know, we have to stop this. And I said, well, Alhamdulillah, it's a very positive sign that a few people killed and a few thousand misplaced or displaced, and it became such a concern. In some countries, we have thousands killed, hundreds and thousands homeless, and it doesn't prick the conscience of the people. So what went wrong? Why is it with this sophistication of the new technology and AI and such phenomenal progress you see and witness in countries, you find this sheer deficit in moral and ethical values? So I'm here to represent a country, but I'm proud to say that we are struggling very hard with this Madani framework, because yes, we need new technology. We have to grasp the new technology. We are fortunately leading in the semiconductor data centers and AI in our region. But we are mindful of the fact that, like Turkey, we are really grounded in our history, culture, and identity. And we also realize that a country cannot merely succeed by culture and identity. At the same time, we are not able to succeed with just craving for relentless progress, unbridled capitalism, and new technology without that shared concern for humanity, for justice, for truth in our country, in our region.
2025 has been a year of turning points, a time of geopolitical shifts, economic realignment, and rapid technological change. Through it all, Malaysia has steered ASEAN with conviction and purpose. We have drawn the region closer and carried it forward. At this defining moment, ASEAN has stood firm, stronger as one. At the heart of Malaysia's chairmanship lies the theme Inclusivity and Sustainability. It is about forging a community where every voice soars and no one is left behind, where we secure the long-term well-being of our peoples. Together, we have built new partnerships, deepened those that endure, and kept ASEAN's centrality as our compass. We have sown the seeds of a lasting legacy with ASEAN 2045, our shared future, a strategic vision for future generations. This has been a year of significance, defined by progress and purpose. Through quiet resolve, we have bridged divides and fostered dialogue. We have reinforced ASEAN's place as the cornerstone of regional architecture. We opened a new chapter by admitting Timor-Leste as ASEAN's 11th member. This reaffirms our founding vision for a united, cohesive, and forward-looking Southeast Asia. We have advanced ASEAN's geo-economic agenda by reinforcing our single market and deepening ties with key partners, supercharging our path towards becoming the world's fourth largest economy by 2030. We continue to press ahead on vital fronts, building climate resilience, deepening our digital economy, and connecting the energy grid. Malaysia's chairmanship now culminates in ASEAN's largest and most high-profile gathering of leaders to date, an assembly of the world's principal centers of power and influence. This has been a year where ASEAN proved its resilience, a year when trust held, cooperation deepened, and our voice was heard with greater strength and clarity on the world stage. As our chairmanship draws to a close, Malaysia reflects with pride on the journey we have taken together.
Looking ahead, I have confidence that ASEAN can chart our future with foresight, with confidence and determination. I am confident that the aspirations of ASEAN, of peace, of justice, of prosperity shared by all will endure for generations to come. Having said that, we are not, of course, free from all problems and issues. As I've said, we are also at the center, very close in Southeast Asia and Asia, this growing tension between the United States and China. Our seas are surrounded by what is called the South China Sea. But I would say again that we are realistic enough to navigate wisely, to say that whilst the United States remain our number one player in terms of investments and trade, China is becoming a very important neighbor. We must continue to engage, maintain excellent relations with our emerging neighbor economically and militarily. But we are not oblivious to the fact and events happening in this region. That's why I made reference to the events in Palestine and what's unfolding in Gaza. When President Trump was in Malaysia, I took efforts to commend him for the remarkable feat, initiative to try and partly resolve, but also at the same time to impress upon him that gross injustice continued to be perpetrated against the people of Gaza, notwithstanding the agreement or the 20-point arrangement. So this is a case in point where the international system and order has failed, where political leaders have shown so much contradiction and hypocrisy, where democracy and human rights have rendered useless to many and being questioned by many in our societies. Because now we value these huge, impressive pronouncements not by their pious platitudes and rhetoric, but by their determination, commitment, and capacity to affect these changes and implement these reforms or policies in a consistent, coherent manner. So, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the actions that countries like ours take will not resolve every contest. What I have attempted to deliberate certainly is not a formula, panacea for all issues or problems. But they will certainly determine the room to maneuver, whether law still constrains power. And certainly is receding. Certainty is receding. The cost of miscalculation is rising. As I said, I think you've seen a very strong message. This is not the time to stand apart. That is the work ahead. And it is the work we should, including people of Malaysia and Turkey, should do together. Tashakur. Thank you.
In 2020, it was estimated that the share of Malaysian population aged over 65 years stood at 7%, which means that Malaysia is currently facing the prospects of an aging population, and the latest statistical data predicted this to be happening as soon as in 2030. Without proper financial planning and guidance to assist our senior citizens, we might have a very serious issue to deal with much sooner than later. The question is, can you fund yourself past 60? Who controls your money? It's an alarming fact to know that we are on the brink of an aging population, and today we are here to find out and if we are ready to face that situation. And joining me today to discuss on that topic, I have here with me Associate Professor Dr. Ratneswari Virasaya. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
I also have here with me Professor Dr. Navanitha Sagayabalan. Welcome, Professor.
Thank you very much, Jess.
And joining me today, I also have with me Associate Professor Dr. Rasman.
Thank you, Jess.
Thank you very much for joining me today to discuss on this topic. Professor,
Yes.
are we ready, given the fact that we are on the brink of an aging population? Are we ready for our retirement?
No, studies show we are not ready, not at all. In fact, most people don't have enough savings. They are not even ready psychologically to be retired. So we've not prepared people for retirement actually.
That's an interesting point. If we're not ready psychologically, we may never prepare for it. Right, Professor?
Right, because you not only psychologically you have to be ready, but you must also be mentally, emotionally, financially also you have to be stable.
Right.
Be ready to face retirement world. Because at this point of time, in Malaysia, we are still at a very infant stage. But despite the fact that when you use the word retirement, you're only classifying to one group of people who actually work in the industry and retire. They are called retirees.
Yes.
But what about those who never went to work?
It's such a
Where do you
misconception.
place them? Yeah.
Yes.
So that is why there's still like a lot of gap, unclearness in this area. So
Right.
it has to be really brought out in the out to create that awareness.
Awareness.
Yes.
Yes, Professor.
Well, perhaps I can share from my own experience. My mom is 73 years old this year.
Yeah.
And I can say she's the most financial savvy among the family. Okay, why I got to know about this? Recently, she asked me to help her prepare her will. I think she just suffered from cancer, but recovered nicely. Okay, so then she decided to have a will. Then I got to know that she's is among the prepared family member. I got to know she has her own shares, cooperative, land, house. Okay, of course, she wanted to give away to her grandchildren, not the children. Never mind. but tabung haji, ASB.
That's good.
And I asked her, how do you manage to do all this saving? And she said, well, she started a little bit early on, and sometimes she forgot about it that she has this. And so, but then she has this discipline to put all little saving of hers into that. And when I try to relate back to what's happening now in our society, when I have a discussion with my colleagues, with my students, with the youngsters, I notice that they are not the same. They are not having the same saving mentality or preparing for the retirement. In fact, when we listen to the current ICNL program, the people are demanding, we want to take out the money because we want to spend it now.
Solve current problems.
Okay, so who will say will live to the ripe old age of 75 years, the average age of Malaysian population right now. So we want to spend it now. So did they have this kind of mentality like what my mother has, like I had? She's 73, not even reached the average age of the Malaysian population,
Yes.
but she already prepared. So when you ask this, are we ready for retirement? Yeah, maybe Prof. Nabil.
Just to add on to what
Sure,
Prof.
Professor.
have just said,
Yes.
if you look at Malaysia, who should be looked after when it comes to retirement? It's a question that always comes out. The blame goes to the government, right? But actually, to the fact that if you look at now, there's good sharing of that mother who have prepared. Maybe she is the one among the 1 or 2% who looks.
Very few percent who had
all
foresight
who can
to do that.
It's good. But if you look at in the Malaysian circumstances now, you can group these retirees, or I would rather say those who are working and retiring. We for a moment we just leave those who have never been to work, but also called the aging people or the seniors.
Right.
We look at those who are retirees. This group of retirees, the first group you can put them under what we call as the most powerful, well-connected, has got the money to take care of their old age, and they have got all the connections to make it happen. So they are ready.
Yes.
The second group of people, of retirees, are people who are connected, and they are not in politics or in any way, but they don't have the kind of money they need to retire. But they have the connections.
Yes.
Okay, they can somehow pull through. The third group of people is they don't have any
of the above.
financial and any of the connections or the people to influence them or connection to go and get some contracts done so that the old age can be kept going. Now, who needs this help? In my personal opinion, I believe what we classify today as the B40 group and the people who really don't have the means to go through their retirement life.
Right.
And what more if the family, children are not there?
True.
So this is, again, it's a very big kind of a group that we're actually looking at. What more those who have never been to work but who are living at home.
Probably one that needs a little bit of an urgent attention as well.
So the government policies also need to be cleared as to who should be responsible for this. Is this a family planning ministry on community development, or is it going to be under health? So we have a combination of both now. So this is a reality picture now today.
Professor, can this be due to the fact that, we live in a culture, especially for Asians, right? It's always been that the young ones will come up and take care of their parents. It's always like, you either live with your son or your daughter, and that has just become so much embedded into our culture and our upbringing. Even working adults who age eventually, I see them taking out their EPF money, giving it to the family for renovations, for things that are just not urgent as retirement.
Exactly.
Is this a reason why we're facing this right now?
This is the trouble with a lot of this an Asian mentality that, if I have a son or a daughter, then I don't have to worry so much about saving because I'm sure he will take care of me or she will take care of me. And I always tell all my friends, you don't do that. It is not fair to the child for you to depend on the child. To impose that thing because you didn't, that's not their responsibility. It is your responsibility to save for your own retirement. Yes. You should never depend on anybody. You should never, no matter what, not on your husband, not on your wife, you should depend on yourself. You control your own money. So if you are going to say, from the day you start working or even before you start working, if you have to have 2 jobs, if you have, whatever it is, you save some substantial amount because you need to know at that point of time when I reach 60, 65, I don't know how healthy I'm going to be. Now, is 3,000 enough? Yes, for just to day-to-day activity, no issue. But I might get sick. So what kind of money? So cash, I must have that much of cash. I must also have properties. I must also have assets, shares, whatever. I from day one decided I would have a portfolio of assets because I'm not going to depend on anybody. The reason being, you don't want to feel like
at the mercy of someone.
At the mercy of someone. And the kids, when you get old, they say, Mom, you got money, please give me. I need to, I got this kid that is not well. I'm going to say, you take care of yourself. You need to take care of yourself because if we don't teach them responsibility, they're not going to be responsible. That's it. It's the same thing with the students when we teach. You're not going to give spoon feeding them because they're never going to learn to think. So you say to them, I will try to push you to the deep end of the pool. You try and swim.
I won't let you go, don't worry.
Yes, you try and swim. If you cannot, I will definitely help you, but you have to learn.
Right.
Right?
On that note, we will take a short break, and when we come back, we will discuss more into that topic. So stay with me on who controls your money.
Kecemasan, boleh saya bantu?
Hello, there's been a motorcycle accident here. Maybe an elephant ran it over.
Sir, there is fire accident at the address number 5 Jalan Tembika, Shah Alam.
PGO from FRT Shah Alam, there was no fire accident here. Over.
MERS 999. Use it wisely.
3/16 with the 7-4.
Barcelona has approved a plan to double the city's tourism tax beginning April.
Asian Marine Affairs and Fisheries Ministry.
Yes, as Thailand as well. There are nothing spots in Mexico.
Misses you much, Sharina. I'm doing fine here in Malaysia. Malaysia is just nice.
300 for the rent, 200 for 2 absent days. You will get 432 for the whole month.
Although sometimes I've got a lot to do at work, just the thought that I could be with you and your mama soon keeps me going here.
That's all.
Told ya. 2 more years you'll be able to pay off your debts. Just let it go, Raji. It happens.
My name is Raji Ahmad. My dear daughter, Rina, forgive me for everything. Don't worry, I'll try my best to come back again.
Who controls your money? The topic today is, can you fund yourself past 60? So join me. So Professor, the workforce is also facing a bit of an issue with an aging population or an employment there, because some